Cassie's growth in the creator and influencer space reaches new heights. Blind signatures. Blinded by fast money, Cassie signs a management contract without reading it, setting up a future disaster. Maddie's portfolio. Maddie capitalizes on her deal with Alamo by taking over the digital branding for strippers, Magic and Kitty, to expand her 15% cut operation. Nate Jacobs faces aggressive blowback from his massive debt to the loan shark Naz. Violent fallout. As Cassie's earnings fail to patch the hole quickly enough, Nate falls victim to brutal physical confrontations. HBO's Euphoria wouldn't kill off Zendaya's Rue Bennett, surely, even after last week's cliffhanger, correct? However, by the conclusion of This Little Piggy, with Rue buried up to her neck in the ground, Alamo Brown, the owner of a strip club, was pressing down on her with a polo mallet and a horse. Furthermore, Rue is completely missing from the advertising photos and video for Euphoria, Season 3, Episode 6, Stand Still and See. Let's review and determine whether HBO killed one of its biggest stars. Instead, characters. Zendaya is doing fine. As we find out if Rue is dead, missing, or none of the above, let's swing that mallet and begin the actual recap. As we start, Rue is still narrating, which is encouraging in terms of, is she dead? However, we are actually transported back in time to a younger version of Alamo, who is watching out of the corner of his eye as his mother gets dressed. Danielle Deadweiler plays the mother, who invites over Preston, a distinguished but nice man who is scarred. During supper, Preston gives Lil Alamo candy and says, "Grace." The finest thing is undoubtedly that he also adores Alamo's mother. Mama Alamo and Baby Alamo praise God for bringing Preston into their lives, when Preston, a devout guy, takes them to church. We learned that Preston worked at a chemical factory until that blew up in his face, when he buys Alamo a strawberry shortcake ice cream pop after church. Preston makes grandiose claims, such as that Alamo would attend a white school if his money arrives. Surprisingly, the money does come in. Now that they are wealthy, Preston treats Alamo's mother like a princess. They move into a larger apartment. He buys her gifts every day, and Alamo even receives a Game Boy, which is really adorable. In fact, Alamo enrolls in the school, and we witness his obsession with westerns and cowboys. The entire theme of this TV season. Additionally, Alamo tells us that this summer was the best of his life. At the beach, Preston admits that he plans to propose to Alamo's mother. Alamo then bestows his blessing. However, the entire place has been looted when they return home. Everything has literally vanished. This also applies to Alamo and his mother, who departs from Preston because this is some bad luck, rather than because she doesn't love him. As they drive out in the rain, Preston sobs that he can fix this on the floor. Naturally, Alamo is perplexed when they relocate to a new city. Mama Brown, however, is certain that Preston was unlucky. They then move in with a different man. Oh, and you know what? Thanks to the crates of goods scattered throughout the new man's apartment, Alamo learns that Mama Brown's new partner is the one who stole Preston. "Alamo, stop staring at me like way." Mama Brown says, "You didn't have to kiss his ugly face." However, because he trusted his mother, Alamo comes to the realization that he has been the mark all along. According to Rue, he vowed that never again would a girl outsmart him. Returning to the present, Alamo is obviously missing Rue's head. He gets off his horse and swings at Rue. However, she gives up Faye in a panic, or declares that she will surrender her. Rather, she phones Faye, who has been using the restroom for the past 2 hours due to some illicit substances. Rue calls Faye while still buried up to her neck in an attempt to persuade her to allow them to rob Lori. But what's the issue? Wayne has captured Faye's heart. "All you should be carrying in your belly is some fair-skinned babies," he informs her, meaning she will no longer be a drug mule. He also inked a swastika on her. Because she loves Wayne, Faye is reluctant to assist, but Rue plays the Fez card, claiming that he would have done so. Can Faye get her back now that Fez has her back, or Rue will pass away? After having second thoughts, Faye persuades Rue to grant her the right to keep the money they steal. However, Wayne enters suspiciously as they hang up. Don't be suspicious. Angry that Faye is doing cocaine, he drops his gun on a copy of Helter Skelter. Wayne, irritated, asks Faye whether she has been taking her prenatal, and places a large amount of money in the safe. In front of Faye, Wayne dangles Manic Petey's, fancy clothing, and other items. But is Wayne the other guy, or the Preston in this scenario? Alamo and Lori decide to meet as Rue prepares to carry out her heist, while the DEA observes. Alamo gives his golden bullets a blessing. Are they the new Cassie and Nate? Faye draws Wayne back for a final kiss. No, In general, there's a sense of impending devastation. Not everyone is escaping here alive, even though Rue managed to avoid the polo mallet. The solution is in when Rue gives Alamo the key to Lori's safe. While Lori is away meeting with Alamo, they are prepared to rob her. Everyone loads and locks. The battle has started. "Alamo Brown," Lori says as she walks in. "I adore your home." Alamos clarifies that they wouldn't be in this situation if Lori had apologized. Lori's goons settle in. Alamo's goons became uneasy. Rue also looks at her with a consistent, intrigued expression. Instead of blasting their way out there, Lori has a better idea. She inquires about Alamo's use of Gold Rush medical services for illicit activities south of the border. Lori intends to traffic fentanyl across the border, using that enterprise and his ambulances. Lori will send the items she took from Alamo to the FBI if Alamo refuses to comply. He is therefore imprisoned. Rather, Alamo must transport 80 kilograms across the border, and he consents to the DEA listening in because of Rue's phone. Alamo opposes Lori's desire for Rue to drive. Alamo draws Lori in close and threatens her as they go for a spit-square handshake. To put it succinctly, avoid crossing him. Rue puts her betraying phone away as they depart. Considering what Rue accomplished for the DEA, what about her? They will see her case favorably. Additionally, we're almost there. Although this is obviously far from finished, Rue is relieved. Over to Maddie, who is having no problem with Alamo, or managing Cassie, Magic, and Kitty. She's taking photos in the silver slipper, which she finds so photogenic. Alamo and Bishop love the pictures too, but they reach a breaking point. Specifically, Maddie wants to take the girls outside and raise their profile. "That's my money," Alamo says, and refuses, as he wonders whether he's A because everyone is trying to mess with him. While Maddie is finding out she might be slightly over her head, Rue is in her best headspace, watching Jules paint. Rue tells Jules that she has no responsibilities to anyone but myself, and that she wants to have kids, have a life, start a family. Another theme of the episode, right? Jules thinks what Rue is talking about is fantasy, but Rue thinks what Jules is doing is fantasy with her sugar daddy. Rue wants to wake up with someone I love. She thinks she needs to find something bigger. "I have to live for something greater than myself," Rue says. Jules looks skeptical. "You think we're gonna be that?" she says. Rue thinks that yes, it could be with Jules, but Rue is livid. Being with Rue almost cost her the apartment, her life, everything. Rue tries to talk to her, but starts to lose it. "You're just a little toy, locked in a little room," Rue says. "Just stay there and paint until I come back to love you." That's when Jules slaps Rue, hard. Rue falls. The painting crashes down. Rue takes the elevator and leaves, crying, and we're left with the idea that perhaps Rue and Jules could have that. But once again, it's Jules who isn't ready, not Rue. Over to the set of LA Nights, Cassie gets her chance to do her scene, which is supposed to be walking on for a job interview, and that's it. She's religiously practiced her lines. But as soon as the cameras roll, she starts to lose it, having flashbacks of Naz and what happened to Nate. The actor she's with improvises with her. Though Cassie is of course not improvising. She's just saying what happened to her, from Nate and her breaking up, to bleeding on her wedding dress on her wedding night, and more. Patty loves what Cassie is doing, and they roll with. Though Cassie totally whiffs her last line. Patty, regardless, is intrigued. While Casey and Patty have lunch, Lexi tries to get rid of Cassie as quickly as possible, bringing up her OnlyFans and how she offers GOI for men. Patty is still intrigued, and calls what Cassie is doing sort of a new form of feminism. Naturally, there's the meta level of Sharon Stone, who became of a sexual icon and lightning rod thanks to Basic Instinct doing this scene. But Patty twists Lexi's words and actions, thinking she brought Cassie to the set to rescue her from sex work. Cassie gets the job, and not only that, they're expanding her role on LA Nights. But first, she needs to delete her OnlyFans. Terrified, Cassie hesitantly goes to her computer. "Are you sure?" comes the prompt. And after praying and crying, she can't do it. Cassie, upset, calls Nate, who is missing a few of his toes. And when he doesn't answer, she deletes the account. A surprisingly underwhelming event. Back in the writer's room, Lexi now tries to take credit for Cassie's casting, and Patty asks Lexi to take a stab at writing the storyline. "Don't act so surprised," Patty sighs. "Act like you deserve it," she adds as Lexi happily types away. Luckily, Lexi has some experience writing scripts about the things that happened to her sister, so this should be easy as pie. Rue makes a key, or is getting a key made, to break into Lori's safe. And since it takes an hour, she decides to go to church. There, she gets a call from her mom. And it actually does seem to be her mom, not the DEA. She tells her mother, then she's not at a meeting. She kinda decided to walk in. And furthermore, she believes in God. I just figured if he exists, then so does redemption. If there's redemption, then there's salvation, Rue says. Look, I know this show has gotten a lot of flack for everything, but the connections are pretty tight this episode. From Rue trying to connect with spirituality, to Cassie praying in the previous scene, to Preston in the cold open. Back to Rue. She just wants to start over, and she wants to be forgiven. But is that even possible for Rue, a character defined by her addictions and bad decisions? Even in an Emmy submission tape scene like this, where it's not clear if she's really talking to her mother or imagining things, it's hard to believe that Rue won't continue to make the worst choices. Oh, but surprise, it is her mother, Nika King, who tells her she loves her, and they hang up. The trick of this show is that you believe in Rue. You want to believe in Rue and her ability to get better, because she wants to believe too. And it comes through in Zendaya's performance. But time and again, we've been like Charlie Brown with the football. We'll see if this, maybe being the last season, will change things. Back at the apartment complex, Lexi is complaining to a friend who urges her to just kill off Cassie's character. If people don't die periodically, people get bored. Otherwise, it's talking and talking, she says. If there's ever been a clear bit of ominous presaging on this show, this is it. While Sam Levinson could just be commenting on this being a purposefully talky scene, it seems far more likely that someone is going to die. Doesn't mean it's Cassie, and in fact, there's a far more likely marked for death suspect in this same sequence. At the same time as Lexi is lamenting her scripting, Cassie gets a FedEx package. Let's open it. Oh wait, it's a horrifying note that says answer the phone, and has Nate's finger in the box. Nate, somehow still alive, is stamping on the rare flowers outside his retirement community, screaming and shouting about faggots, which seems unnecessary. And the same man who cut off his finger comes over to where Nate is, ready to pull more pieces off him. Again, I must ask why this is being played for comedy. And yet it is. We don't get to see what Nate loses this time, but I gotta assume it's an ear. We'll see. Either way, my previous prediction was that Nate is going to end up buried in the ground under his retirement community. Now, I wonder if Cassie and Nate are headed towards two unmarked graves. Back to the main plot. Rue gives the key to Alamo, who wants her to rob Lori. He gives her a dead rat to feed to his snake, as Bishop tells Rue the story behind the snake. Turns out there was a dancer named Sweet who used to sleep with the snake. But one day, the snake stopped eating. The vet told her, "This is a perfectly healthy python, and the reason it wraps itself around you at night is because it's sizing you up, and it was preparing for a bigger meal, her." So she sold the snake to Alamo, who kept it. Bishop asks if Rue is going to rob the safe, and when she agrees, he says that's good, because it would be a shame if he had to tell her mother things went the other way. So yeah, Rue is trapped, once again, with Bishop threatening to kill her mother if she doesn't go through with the robbery. Rue drives, trying to listen to the Bible. But the book on tape is distorted. She's not watching the road, so doesn't see the truck coming straight towards her. She swerves straight into the path, and pulls away, driving off the road. Phew. Thought we were going to get a "Is Rue dead" cliffhanger 2 weeks in a row. Instead, Rue sees a burning bush, caused by her car, a sign from God? A fiction like Giant Cassie last episode? We'll have to wait until next week to find out. As for now, Rue has found the faith she's been looking for, or at least something to believe in. Whether it's real and whether it's salvation, that's a story for another time.